Okay, so are you ready to dive into something really fascinating? A listener sent in this incredible tier list, spiritual anchors, and I have to say it is amazing. We're talking about like everything from the everyday stuff that keeps us grounded to, well, the really big questions about reality itself.
It's a really wild ride.
It is. So we've got tiers, right? Starting with C's, the common but powerful stuff, all the way to Beyond Broken, which I don't even know. It's like the stuff that makes you rethink everything.
What gets me is how important it is for people to connect with something bigger than themselves. It's like a constant throughout history, across every culture. People are always looking for these anchors, these ways to connect with something spiritual.
It's almost like we're like hardwired for it, don't you think?
I think so.
Yeah.
And the ways people do it, well, this list is a perfect example. So should we just jump right in?
Let's do it. Let's start with tier C. The logical and tangible. So this is like the familiar stuff. Prayer beads, altars, incense, things people see all the time, even if they aren't really like spiritual. It's a really good place to start though.
Definitely.
So like prayer beads, right? Rosaries, malas, worry beads. It's so interesting to me. Different traditions, same basic idea. You're using something you can touch to like focus your intention. It's like every bead helps you find a rhythm, a place to ground your prayers or mantras.
It's amazing, really, how something so simple can be so powerful.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the beads themselves. It's like the thought behind them, the history in each one. For some people, it's a direct connection to their faith, a link to everyone who came before them.
Wow. Yeah, it's like holding that history in your hand.
That's a good way to put it. And when you think about altars, it's the same thing, but bigger. You're making a special space in your house or a church or a temple, and you're giving it a meaning.
You're saying like this space is different. It's special.
Yes, exactly. It's about having something that reminds you, something about your spiritual practice that helps you connect with something bigger. And it's super personal. Some people like it simple, and some people go all out.
Right. It's a reflection of you.
Exactly. And speaking of setting the mood, we can't forget incense and candles.
Oh, yeah.
The power of smell. And don't get me wrong, I love a good sandalwood incense just as much as the next person, but it's more than just making the place smell nice. It's this ancient primal thing. For centuries, people have been using incense in rituals all over the world. Purification, offerings, you name it.
Yeah. It's like each scent has its own energy, its own purpose. It's not just about covering up a bad smell. It's about like what you want to happen. You want to clear a space, bring in good energy, or just make things feel calm.
That's exactly it. And that's what's so interesting about this whole tier, really. It's how things that seem ordinary can become powerful when we give them meaning.
It's like we're taking the everyday and making it sacred, finding what's special in the ordinary. But I think it's about to get even more interesting. We're moving up to tier B, ancient practices and tools.
Here we go.
This is where we get into things like crystals, right? And let's be honest, crystals are like everywhere these days. Even if you don't believe in the energy and stuff, you can't deny they're important to a lot of people.
Absolutely. People have used them for centuries. Healing, protection, all sorts of spiritual stuff.
People swear by quartz for clarity, amethyst for protection. It's like each crystal is like its own little personality.
Right.
With its own energy.
Right.
And even if you're not sure about like the science, holding a crystal can be really calming.
It's about connecting to something bigger than yourself, something ancient. And it's not that different from, say, how people feel about holy relics.
Okay, tell me more about that. How are crystals and like a saint's clothes connected?
It's all about what we believe and how we connect to something bigger. Like take the Shroud of Turin. Some people believe it's the burial cloth of Jesus. Now, whether or not you believe that, it doesn't really matter for this. What matters is that it's an object people feel deeply connected to.
It represents something sacred, something beyond our understanding.
Yes. And this idea of giving objects power, that brings us to the last stop in tier B talismans. Amulets, sigils, lucky charms, whatever you call them. The idea is the same.
It's like harnessing spiritual energy, right? Like a little battery pack of good vibes.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, a talisman's supposed to have a specific energy, a specific intention, protection, luck, you name it. It's like a physical form of what you want.
It's just like a reminder of your goals, your hopes. Cool. But I feel like we're about to go somewhere totally different with tier A mystical practices.
Oh yeah, this is where things get really interesting. We're talking about stuff that's right on the edge of what we think of as real. You got to kind of take a leap of faith for these ones.
And you know me, I love a good challenge, especially when it comes to the mysteries of the universe. What's waiting for us in tier A?
Well, we've got chanting and mantras, for one thing. The idea that sound can be a powerful force.
I am here for it. Tell me more.
Think about Om. It's so simple, but in Hinduism and other traditions, it's considered one of the most sacred sounds. It's like the sound of creation, the vibration behind everything.
Whoa. So when you chant Om, you're like tuning into the universe's frequency.
Yes, exactly. And this idea isn't just in Eastern traditions either. Gregorian chants, Sufi whirling dervishes, it's all about using sound to change your consciousness, to meditate, or to connect with the divine.
It's like sound is a way to access a different part of your awareness.
That's a great way to put it. And of course, we can't talk about mystical practices without talking about meditation. When people hear meditation, they think of sitting still with your eyes closed, trying to think about nothing. But there are so many types of meditation, and they all have different techniques and goals.
So it's more than just relaxing.
Way more. We're talking about techniques that are ancient, meant to not just quiet your mind, but to help you understand things on a deep spiritual level. Maybe even connect with something bigger.
It's almost like meditation is the key to unlocking something inside us.
I like that. And for some people, what they unlock is beyond our everyday understanding. And that's where shamanic journeys come in.
Okay, shamanic journeys sound intense. What are those?
It's a practice, often in indigenous cultures, where you go into a different state of consciousness, usually with drumming or chanting, sometimes even plant medicine, to connect with the spiritual world, to find wisdom, healing, guidance.
It's like a guided tour through your consciousness.
You could say that.
Yeah.
It's definitely not something to take lightly. But it's a powerful example of how some spiritual practices bridge the gap between what we can see and what we can't.
This is already blowing my mind, and we're just getting started. We've gone from prayer beads to the edge of consciousness. You know, when I hear reality bending, I usually think like sci-fi movies or like bending spoons with my mind. But I have a feeling TRS reality bending anchors is going to be a lot more than that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. This is where we get into the really out there stuff. We're talking about like the fundamental way the universe works. It's pretty wild.
Okay, now I'm really curious. What kind of stuff are we talking about?
So we've got sacred geometries. These are shapes and patterns, the flower of life, the Sri Yantra.
I've seen those.
Right. They're not just pretty designs. People believe they represent the basic building blocks of, well, everything.
So they're like blueprints for the universe.
Exactly. The idea is that there's this hidden meaning in these shapes, a code that unlocks like the secrets of the cosmos. And you see these patterns everywhere. Ancient temples, Renaissance paintings, even modern physics.
Wow, it's like a universal language or something.
Right. And speaking of languages that go beyond time, we've got astrological alignments.
Okay, this I know a little about. Astrology is huge right now. Everyone's all about their sun sign, their moon sign, whether Mercury is doing its retrograde thing. But it's more than just like personality quizzes, right?
Way more. Astrology is about how everything is connected. It's believing that where the planets and stars are affects what happens here on Earth, even our own lives.
So it's not just blaming a bad day on Mercury.
No, but it's easy to make jokes. The basic idea, though, is that we're part of something so much bigger, like a dance, where everything affects everything else.
It's like when you look up at the night sky, it's not just random stars, it's all connected somehow.
Yes, exactly. And if you like that idea, get ready to have your mind blown, because next up is the Akashic Records.
Okay, the Akashic Records. Even the name sounds mysterious. What is that exactly?
Imagine like a library. But this library has everything. Every thought, every action, everything that's ever happened or will happen. That's the Akashic Records, a place where it's all stored.
So it's like the universe's biggest history book.
Even bigger. It's supposed to be pure consciousness, beyond time and space. And some people believe you can access it if you know how.
That's so cool. It'd be like having all the answers, right? But it's not as easy as a Google search, is it?
Not quite. People say you need to meditate, understand spiritual stuff. Basically, it takes a lot of work.
Sounds like it. Okay, before I get too lost in that, let's talk about TIRIS. Unseen forces and practices. That sounds even more, I don't know, abstract than a cosmic library. What are we getting into now?
This one's all about the things we can't see that people believe affect our lives.
Like guardian angels, spirit guides, all that.
Yep. The idea that we're not alone, that something's watching over us, it's a powerful one. Lots of cultures believe it.
It's nice to think about, that even when you feel lost, there might be something looking out for you.
It is. And just like there might be forces helping us, some people believe there's energy running through the earth, connecting special places. It's pretty wild.
You're talking about ley lines, right? The energy lines. I love that idea. Like Stonehenge, the pyramids, all these amazing places connected by energy we can't see.
Exactly. And while, there's no scientific proof or anything, it's a powerful image. The earth being alive with its own energy system.
Like instead of blood, it's energy flowing through the planet, and
Yeah.
we're all affected by it.
That's the idea. And some people think we can learn to use that energy with practices like, say, ritual magic.
Okay, ritual magic. That sounds a little more, I don't know, active than just feeling the energy. What do people actually do?
Well, it's not like, pulling a rabbit out of a hat.
Yeah.
It's more about using rituals and symbols to connect with those unseen forces and try to create change.
So you're using those forces to make things happen, manifest things.
Kind of. It's about understanding how everything is connected and working with that energy, not against it.
So instead of just letting life happen, you're taking part in creating your reality.
Yeah, exactly. And that brings us to a really interesting part of this whole thing, because now we're moving into the broken tier. This is where the line between like what's real and what's spiritual, well, it gets blurry.
All right, we're entering the broken tier, which sounds a bit ominous, don't you think? What's broken about these anchors, and what kind of reality-shifting wonders await us in this tier?
Don't let the name fool you. It's not about things being broken in a negative sense. It's more about concepts that break the mold, that shatter our conventional understanding of how the universe works. These are the divine instruments, capable of shaping reality in ways that defy our typical explanations.
Okay, I'm intrigued. I'm ready for my understanding of reality to be thoroughly broken. What's the first mind-blowing concept we're diving into?
Let's start with how some traditions view their holy scriptures. We're not just talking about words on a page, but active forces imbued with divine power. These are the living words, believed to hold the power to influence reality simply by being spoken, read, or even contemplated.
It's like the belief is that these words carry an energetic charge, the very essence of the divine, and by interacting with them, we tap into that power, that direct connection. It adds a whole new level of significance to reading and reflecting on sacred texts.
Exactly. It's not just about literal interpretation, but about connecting with a deeper spiritual energy embedded within the words themselves. And speaking of energies that seem to defy explanation, we have divine interventions.
Okay, we're talking miracles, right? Those moments where the laws of nature seem to be suspended, where the impossible becomes possible.
Precisely. Divine interventions are those unexplainable events, often attributed to a divine hand intervening in the course of human affairs or the natural world. Miraculous healings, spontaneous remissions, events that defy logical explanation. These are often seen as proof of a power beyond our understanding, shaping the course of events.
It's like the universe acknowledging a power greater than the rules it usually plays by, and that's both awe-inspiring and a little bit terrifying, wouldn't you say?
It certainly makes you question everything you thought you knew about how the world works.
Yeah.
And that brings us to a concept that's gained a lot of traction in recent years, manifestation through thought, or as many call it, the law of attraction.
Okay, the law of attraction, I've definitely heard of this one. It's all about the power of positive thinking, right? Like, if you put good vibes out into the universe, good vibes will find their way back to you.
It's more nuanced than that, though that's a good starting point. The law of attraction suggests that our thoughts, our intentions, have a direct impact on our reality. It's the belief that we are not just passive observers in our own lives, but active creators, constantly emitting energy and attracting similar energies back to us.
So it's not just about wishing for things to be better, it's about actively shaping your reality through your thoughts, your beliefs, your energy.
Precisely. It suggests that we have far more agency than we often realize,
Yeah.
and that our inner world has a very real impact on our outer world.
It's both empowering and a little daunting, isn't it? To think that we have that much influence over our own destinies, it makes you want to choose your thoughts carefully. But I have a feeling things are about to get even more mind-bending as we venture into the beyond broken tier. We're going from breaking the mold to shattering it completely, right?
Get ready, because this is where we encounter concepts that push the very limits of human comprehension. These aren't just about altering reality as we know it, but about expanding our understanding of what reality even is.
Okay, after everything we've already explored, I can't imagine what could possibly top divine interventions and the law of attraction. Give it to me, what mind-blowing concepts reside in this beyond broken tier.
First, we have the concept of the void, or cosmic nothingness. Now, this isn't about emptiness as we usually understand it. It's not about the absence of something, but about a state of pure potentiality, the source from which everything arises and to which everything eventually returns.
So it's like the ultimate paradox nothingness that's also everything. My brain might melt trying to wrap itself around that one.
It's a concept that's challenged philosophers and mystics for centuries, because how can something come from nothing? And yet, many traditions believe that before creation, before the Big Bang, there was this state of pure potentiality, this undifferentiated wholeness from which all things emerged.
It's like the cosmic womb, the source of all creation. I'm starting to understand why it's beyond broken. It breaks the very categories we use to understand existence.
Exactly. And if the void isn't mind-bending enough, buckle up, because we have one final stop on our journey, the divine singularity.
Okay, lay it on me. What makes the divine singularity the pinnacle of beyond broken?
Imagine a state of being where all separation dissolves. All consciousness, all energy, all matter. Everything merges back into one unified whole. It's the ultimate expression of interconnectedness, a reality beyond duality, beyond our limited understanding of time and space.
So it's like everything we perceive as separate ourselves, the universe, it's all just different expressions of one fundamental oneness. It's almost impossible to even visualize.
That's the challenge and the beauty of these beyond broken concepts. They force us to confront the limitations of our own perception, to acknowledge that there might be realms of existence far grander and more mysterious than we can currently grasp.
Wow, talk about a mind-expanding journey. We started with prayer beads, and now we're contemplating the very nature of reality itself. That's the magic of spiritual anchors, isn't it? They remind us that there's always more to explore, more to understand, more to connect with, whether we're seeking comfort in the tangible or diving headfirst into the great unknown.
Beautifully said. And for you listeners, as you reflect on this diverse array of spiritual anchors, we want to hear from you. Which anchor resonated with you the most? What sparked your curiosity? What new insights have you gained? Let us know, because your thoughts might just inspire our next deep dive into the mysteries of the universe and the human experience.
And until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep seeking those connections that bring meaning to your world.